If a prayer is being performed in congregation and there is an empty space in the front row, can the person praying behind go forward? Yes, of course, he should move forward. For example, if someone in the first row breaks his ablution and leaves the row, the person standing right behind should walk 2 steps forward and join the row in the 3rd step, and those standing next to him should move to fill his empty space. The aim is to fill the empty space. There is a hadith in Abu Dawud that a person praying alone in a row does not pray in a row, but this is in the case when there is an empty space in the front row and you have decided to stand in the second row. However, if there is no empty space in the front row and you pray alone at the back, then there is a difference of opinion among the scholars of hadith. Some argues that this hadith will not apply if there is no space in the front row and therefore you have to stand alone in your own row, but others say that, instead of standing alone, he should ask a person standing in the front row to join him in his row, because there must be at least 2 people in the row. If building over graves is forbidden in Islam, why were Hazrat Abu Bakr and Hazrat Umar buried in a building? The answer lies within the question itself. Hazrat Abu Bakr and Hazrat Umar, may Allah be pleased with them, were not buried under a newly built structure, rather, they were laid to rest inside an existing building which we call the chamber of Hazrat Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, where the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was also buried. No shrine or tomb was constructed over their graves, nor was any special structure erected for them. Before discussing their burial further, let's first consider an important point. During his lifetime, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, buried 3 of his beloved daughters, Sayyida Ruqayyah, Sayyida Kulsum, and Sayyida Zainab, may Allah be pleased with them. Despite his immense love for them, he never built a structure over their graves. Similarly, after the Prophet's passing, Sayyida Fatima, may Allah be pleased with her, was the first from Ahlul Bayt to pass away. If building over graves were an Islamic practice, surely Hazrat Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, would have built a tomb for her. Yet, he did not. This shows that even the closest family members of the Prophet did not establish any tradition of constructing shrines over graves. Today, some groups, particularly certain Barelvis and Shias, argue that the Saudi government has unjustly destroyed tombs. However, the real question is, when did the construction of tombs over graves become permissible in Islam? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his closest companions never endorsed or practiced this tradition. The reality is that many of these shrines and tombs were built much later, not during the time of the Prophet or the early caliphs. The Ottoman Empire, out of respect, constructed many of these structures hundreds of years after the advent of Islam. However, if the Saudi government chooses to remove them, they are simply restoring the original principles of Islam, which prohibit building over graves. A similar example is the Green Dome of the Rock, which was constructed centuries after the Prophet's time. It is also important to understand the history of the Green Dome. Some people mistakenly believe that it was part of the Prophet's original burial site, but this is not the case. Hazrat Aisha's chamber, where the Prophet was buried, already existed during his lifetime. No special structure was built over it afterward. The Green Dome itself was added more than 650 years later, and even then, it was originally white. It was only painted green in 1837 during the Ottoman period. This historical context is crucial because it shows that the Green Dome is not an essential religious structure but a later addition.